and the omnibus, so I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on.
I'm awash with the stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, welcome everyone to this deep dive. We've got some really fascinating source material you've shared today. It's snippets from a recent Archers episode.
That's right, and it focuses on, well, the preparations happening in Ambridge for Peggy Woolly's funeral. Quiet, but very human stuff.
Exactly. It's not just about, who does what. These bits show how a community deals with loss, tradition versus personal feelings.
And how life just kind of keeps going alongside these big moments.
Right. So our mission here is to sort of cut through it all for you. We'll untack the key bits, the tensions, those little moments of connection.
Basically give you a shortcut to understanding the feel of Ambridge right now through this specific event.
It's about getting the essentials, the people, the community vibes, the feelings, without getting lost in every single detail.
Helps you see the bigger picture.
Okay, let's jump in. The story really starts fittingly at St. Stephen's Church. That's where the service will be.
Yeah, and this is where we first meet Father Crispen. He's there for the planning meeting.
And it's not just family. Alan's there too. He's the vicar of St. Stephen's, but interestingly, he's not the one actually doing the funeral service.
Right, and Father Crispen just turns up, quite direct, says he's there for final arrangements, on location, sets the tone.
And you immediately get a sense of his personality. Alan asks him straight off if he's still banging the drum for muscular Christianity.
And Crispen just leans right in, suggests boxing with Alan, says it will get you closer to God.
Quite the approach.
A real blend of the physical and spiritual, and Alan's reply. Yes, I think I'll stick to prayer, thanks very much.
Tells you everything, doesn't it? About the contrast between them.
Then Kate and Jacob arrive. Jacob's introduced as the organist, but also Kate's partner. That feels kind of noted in this context.
Yeah, a little merging of the personal and the public. Kate seems a bit unsure how to address Father Crispen at first.
Then Alan makes his exit on his motorbike, naturally, off to a confirmation class.
Which gives Father Crispen another chance for a bit of a jab. Calls the bike the longest midlife crisis in church history.
Oof, yeah.
And both Alan and Kate sort of acknowledge they're on different theological spectrums from Crispen. Kate mentions her own less orthodox views.
But here's the interesting thing. Despite all that, Kate says later she got on very well with him. Almost surprised herself, maybe.
Jacob agrees too, calls him very thorough.
So what does that suggest? Maybe that even with clashing styles, having a shared goal honoring Peggy can bridge those gaps, at least temporarily.
That's a really good point. It's not about suddenly agreeing on beliefs, but finding that common ground for the task.
Exactly.
And speaking of the task, let's talk about the actual order of service they discussed. What were the main parts?
Okay, so they go through the flow. There's the first hymn, then prayers of penitence.
Right, and Kate specifically asks about those what are prayers of penitence. Sounds a bit wary, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Father Crispen reassures her, though. Says they sound more forbidding than they actually are.
Okay, and then readings.
Yes. Lillian, Peggy's daughter, is doing a reading. And Tony, Peggy's son, he's giving the eulogy.
And Father Crispen lays out his theme for his part. Service to ourselves, to our community, and to God.
Which prompts Kate to say service. Yes, that's very grand. There's a slight pause there, a thoughtfulness, maybe a touch of skepticism.
It's subtle, yeah, how different people connect, or maybe don't quite connect, with those big formal themes, especially when they're grieving.
And talking about grief, there's that moment where Kate gets upset during the meeting. It's quite poignant.
Yes, it is. And Father Crispen offers her his handkerchief.
Her first reaction is, all apologies, I'll wash it and bring it back. So polite even then.
So British, right? But Crispen's reply is just pure pragmatism.
Really, don't worry, I buy it by the dozen. Tax deductible.
That line just jumps out, doesn't it? Almost startlingly practical, but also weirdly grounding amidst all the emotion.
Totally. A reminder that, life and its little details, like tax, go on. And that's what we hear about his shoulder sprain, too, from a kettlebell.
Right, and Kate even offers him a massage, joking about getting him match fit for the funeral.
These little human bits, the injury, the offer, they just weave through the planning. It makes it real.
It does. It's not just some abstract ritual. It's real people with sore shoulders making it happen. But back to the practical side, Kate has a massive worry.
Oh yeah. The numbers. Peggy knew so many people. Kate's really stressed about fitting everyone into St. Stephen's.
She lists them all friends from Notahondo, South Africa, Hungary.
Newcastle, Sunderland, locals, family, the Laurels, the village, charities.
I mean, it really paints a picture of Peggy's life, her reach.
Absolutely. And Kate's worry is practical. Can the church actually hold them all? She gets quite direct with Alan about it.
She does. She says if people do have to stand, he should be one of them, and he needs to be ready to manage an overflow outside.
Alan tries to kind of brush it off at first, saying based on past funerals, it probably won't be that full.
But Kate insists, but if, and eventually he agrees, maybe a bit grudgingly, if it should be necessary.
That whole exchange, it feels like it's about more than just seats, you know. It's managing the community, the reality of honoring someone this loved.
And then, after Alan leaves, Kate drops the real reason for the underlying tension.
Yes. She tells someone Alan only brought it on himself because he didn't prove Peggy's window.
The village politics. So a past argument about a memorial window is actually affecting who officiates her funeral.
Classic Ambridge, isn't it? Past stuff echoing into the present. Shows how tangled up the public and private lives are there.
It really does, and it's striking how, amidst all this heavy funeral stuff, other life just carries on. We get that little snippet about Brookfield's Open Farm Sunday being a success.
Yeah, and David gets a big thank you. Helen says he saved our Open Farm Sunday. Must have really pulled people in.
They're sorting out thank you gifts for him. A cheese hamper, apparently he loves cheese.
And a pint. Nice bit of neighborly appreciation. Shows the support network's still ticking over.
And then there's also that quick mention, isn't there, about Susan worrying about the village shop, competition from that Underwoods.local place at the charging station.
Helen and David noticed it looked well stocked. Just that little hum of everyday village commerce and concern.
It's a good reminder, really. While one focus is this big farewell, the cycles of farming, business, daily worries, they don't stop. Life keeps moving.
It really doesn't pause. And layered into all this, we get something incredibly personal and moving from the sources. That conversation between Tony and his son, Henry.
Oh, absolutely. Tony is just full of anxiety about carrying Peggy's coffin.
You can really feel it.
Yeah.
He's worried he'll just go to pieces halfway down the aisle.
And that pressure he feels. But I'm her son, her only son. What will people think? That sense of duty weighing on him.
It's so understandable, that conflict between what you feel you should do and what you emotionally feel capable of.
And Henry, who overhears this, he steps in with such, well, maturity.
Yeah, incredible empathy. He tells his dad straight away, there are no rules here. No one's going to think any less of you. Trying to lift that pressure.
And then he makes this offer. It's just so thoughtful. How would it be if I did it instead?
He gives practical reasons. First, Tony's already doing the eulogy. It'll be a hard enough day anyway.
But then he adds the crucial part. He says, and actually, I'd like to do it. He makes it clear it's something he wants to do.
Yes. For yourself and for your great-grandma Peggy. It shifts it from just helping out to a genuine act of wanting to participate, to honor her.
It's really powerful, that willingness to step up, not just because he has to, but because he wants to. And Tony's relief.
Oh, you can almost hear it. A huge weight off my mind, he says, and he tells Henry, do you know you're a very special boy?
It's such a touching moment. It shows how, support can come from unexpected places and how roles can shift. It wasn't about sticking to tradition, but about genuine connection and support.
Exactly. Henry found an authentic way to contribute that met everyone's needs, including his own desire to do something meaningful.
So looking back at this deep dive, just from these few bits of conversation we've seen so much, the practical side of funeral planning, the memorable character of Father Crispen,
the layers of village history and tension, like with Alan in the window, the way everyday life continues alongside the grief.
And ending with that really profound personal moment between Tony and Henry.
These sources really show how grief isn't simple, is it? It's tied up with community, logistics, history, and just the basic human need to, be there for each other.
It definitely leaves you thinking, how do we in our own lives handle those moments? That pull between what we think is expected, the what will people think part, and what feels genuinely right or helpful.
Yeah, and does sticking to tradition always serve the real emotional needs? Or are there times, like with Henry stepping up, where maybe redefining those roles is actually the most supportive thing we can do? Something for you to think about, perhaps.
So, what are you doing now? just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the arches.
Are you what we call Foley then?
Kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep, that's the ball bar.
This one.
Yep,
Hayley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. But, I mean, it would have been a stretch for employing actually mine, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them go.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever